Are you focused, or are you falling down a YouTube rabbit hole as we speak? Are you listening to the 36th episode of a podcast where you know you should be actually doing work? Today I'm going to break down my latest issue with focus. So I'm a pretty hardworking person. I may not be the hardest working person because I have a little bit of perspective and understand that there are literally 8 billion people in the world. So say I'm going to outwork you is kind of silly, but I probably will. I'm really, really hardworking. My schedule is jam-packed. I do sleep 7 hours and 15 minutes exactly, but like that's the whole point, right? Exactly. So everything else is really, really jam-packed with either, family responsibilities, house responsibilities, business responsibilities, a lot of responsibilities. But what I've been noticing lately is a lack of focus. Recently, I have been really, really interested in bodybuilding, in, working out, and actually the sport of bodybuilding. Back in April, I hit this point in my life, and I go through these things in my life where something clicks, something triggers, or something happens where I'm super excited, and I get super invested emotionally, physically, mentally into something, whatever it may be. Back in April, I was doing something revolved around diet, and I was looking up something with food, and I realized that what I was doing with my diet was just basically a low-carb diet, and it wasn't a ketogenic diet. So I learned the intricacies of what a ketogenic diet is. I went on the keto diet, and I saw really, really interesting results. And it was kind of like a test, right? I dropped 9 pounds of water weight in the first week. But it was interesting because I saw a definition that I've never seen before. I went down a rabbit hole for the next 2-3 months experimenting with keto. And then I started experimenting with caloric deficits versus caloric surpluses and kind of learning all about that. And I went on a little bit of a mini cut, a 4-week calorie deficit. And again, I know I'm going down this geeky diet rabbit hole, but I'm just trying to explain this whole process. And now I've kind of through that unlocked this key that I've been missing for so many years. And before I go on any further, I'll tell you what the key is. It's really kind of stupidly simple. If you want to gain weight, in this case gain muscle, which ultimately you're going to gain a little bit of fat by doing so, but gain muscle, you have to eat more food. If you want to lose weight, you have to eat less food. Granted, you have to bust ass in the gym, but it's like the curtain is lifted, the lights turned on, and it's kind of stupid, but it's so true. And I was always focused on like macronutrients, getting my protein, instead of like, oh, I need to be in a caloric surplus. I need to take in more energy than my body expels. Now that I'm done with my diet bodybuilding rant, the reason why I'm telling you this is because that was this key that, oh my gosh, and now the potential that I've never thought I never had before. I thought I was always a hard gainer. I was a skinny guy, is there. And granted, I know it's a 2 to 3 year journey to get to the place that I want to be size-wise, but I now know at least this option is possible because I never really focused on it before. So what this surge of excitement and passion and interest has done has kind of torn at my focus. If you've ever read a book called The One Thing, it is a really, really good book, and it can pertain to pretty much anybody. Entrepreneurs, I think, get the most out of these types of books because entrepreneurship is so very self-necessary, and you have to invest in becoming a better version of yourself to actually grow a business that you want to start. Either way, I digress. The One Thing is a fantastic book, and it breaks down this concept that really, in certain respects, and there's a lot of nuances here, but in certain respects, there really can be only one thing that you're truly focused on. Now, you may totally disagree with that, you may totally agree with that, but I definitely think you should read this book. But at the same time, let's break it down. The one thing that I've been focused on for a very long time is growing this business. Is, in this case, growing Upgrade, but before Upgrade was Breakthrough Music. So growing my online revenue source. And that has been an extreme almost obsessive passion for me for many, many years now. And granted, there has been ebbs and flows. Clearly, we got married. I've had a daughter. Like, those moments in my life is where the business, for certain respects, takes kind of a back seat, because I have my one thing, and my one thing is my daughter. Now, my big one thing is clearly my family. That is the one thing in my life. But again, you should read this book because there's a lot of nuances either way. Lately, this whole diet and bodybuilding thing has kind of taken the place of the one thing. I've been thinking about it. I've been watching YouTube videos. I've been reading about it. I've been learning as much as I can. And of course, I've put a lot more focus into my diet. My meal prep today on Sunday took over 2 hours for the whole week. Just the amount more food I've been eating. My budget now has to go into, because I'm buying more food. I'm buying more high quality, organic and grass-fed and finished food. I am spending a little bit more time in the gym. I'm much more consistent in the gym. Those Saturday workouts, can't miss those. Either way, this is kind of becoming my one thing lately. So now, here's why ritual design and building routines in your life is so important. When you build your ideal day, you get to basically do everything you want. So let's go through not my entire ideal day, but parts of my ideal day that does focus on all the aspects on bodybuilding that I want. I have all my meals prepped, right? So I eat pretty much perfectly throughout the whole day. I get my calories in, I hit my macronutrients. I work out in the morning for between 45 and 50 minutes, and my sleep is optimized where I actually have really good workouts. I take electrolytes and pre-workouts before. So I have all that stuff because the routine is revolved around what time I go to bed during my PM routine, and my AM routine, getting up early and doing all the things that I need to prior to the workout, and actually getting in the gym at 7:15. And then when do I work on upgrade, right? Well, working on upgrade takes the form of the PM routine. So from 8 o'clock at night to 10 o'clock at night is the time where I spend working on this business. So now, here's what happens. When you are focused on something else other than what you were previously, it bleeds into your routines. So while I'm working on the business, I may have a YouTube video up and just listening to it, not even watching, but listening to, the optimized, split between, push, pull, legs, or, when to work out different body parts or whatever it is. I'm not truly focused on upgrade at that moment. I'm going bouncing back and forth. But here is why routines are so important, because even if I have a lack of focus, because right now I'm just really passionate about this working out thing, right? Even if I am not as focused, I am still, for no pun intended, getting the reps in. I'm still sitting at the computer, doing the work, making the videos, editing the videos, making the course, doing all the stuff that's part of this business that needs to get done. Now, I can't say to you that, when you have to, in my case, sit down and work on upgrade and work on the business, I have to be solely mentally committed to that, because I may not be at that moment. I may be just more passionate about something else that's working in tandem alongside what I'm actually doing here. So once again, routines are such an important part in everybody's life, because like I said, if you're just really pumped about something, but ultimately you still are excited about the other thing, if you design your ideal day and if you build out a really great system of rituals, you're going to be able to at least get those things done, whether or not you're a little bit more mentally passionate and therefore mentally focused on one versus the other. Now, if you are really interested about designing your ideal day and want to know what goes into that, like what are these routines and where do they place throughout the day and what does this process look like, then you can check out one of my workshops that I give, and you can learn all about the system called ritual design. You could also take a look at this video right here that kind of breaks down the basics of what ritual design is all about.